I am Kat Woods. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm going to do a updated video over my new Thompson Chain Reference Bible. If you guys haven't checked out CBP, which is Church Bible Publishers, I highly recommend you go checking them out. They have some of the best Thompson Chain Reference Bibles available, and you get them in premium quality materials. And which is amazing, the best part of this ministry, they're very, very affordable. I mean, you can get now on the market regular Bibles like with the faux leather, like the Abide Bible, a lot of Holman's, like just, regular everyday Bibles. They're like 80 some dollars for them. And that's not with premium leather, quality materials. So just saying, if you think you can't afford any of these Bibles, but you're already purchasing them by, the regular. Anyways, so I'm just going to stop rambling. And I already updated the first show of this Bible. All right. And I said in that video that this will be the only Bible, crossing my fingers because I'm going to try super, super hard, and only highlighting, marking, writing only in one Bible for one whole year. I'm hoping that I can, and so far it's the second month, and I'm really, really sticking to that. I haven't marked in any other Bible, haven't written in any other Bible. This has been my main focus. So I'm going to try to continue on with that journey. I've super been curious on what it will look like with having one Bible filled up with my everyday thoughts, questions, prayers. You'll see what I'm talking about in here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on in. Quickly, let me show you what pens and stuff I'm using, because I will also get asked that question. I did share my pen bag, so make sure you check out that video. I will leave it linked in the description box below because I'm not going to go over any of that stuff. I use my Pentel's and my Pilot G-Tex here for my writing the notes. At first I was just using the blue, black and blue of the Pentel's, but the blue one kept skipping and I don't have any additional ones. I do have some on the way coming, but so I pulled out my Pilot G-Tex. So that's what I'm using right now for my note writing. So you will see those. Highlighting and doing all the good underlining, I will use these. All right. And then the last couple of pages, I'll go ahead and show you where and what I use, what tools. I use my Sharpie highlighter, not highlighter, but pen. Sharpie artist pen. There we go. All right, so those are my tools. I'll leave them out of the way. Okay, now we're going to get into the good stuff. So at the beginning here, I always like to create a page where I can come to, I can come here for inspiration. So I will put positive quotes, different little notes, maybe even verses that really touch my spirit in the Bible. I'll keep it up front so I don't have to continue to flip through and be like, hey, I remember that verse, but I don't remember what page, what book, or nothing like that. I'll keep it here. So right now I wrote this lovely reminder on why I am writing in my Bible in the first place. Even though this is not a wide margin Bible, you still have margin room in almost every single Bible. You're just limited. Then I have my presentation page. And I haven't went through and filled out any of this good stuff yet, so I will do all that later. Here is another, let me go ahead and pull you down for a minute. This is another marginal quote, well, a quote that I wrote talking about my margins. So if you want to pause it, read it, go right ahead. Let me get a whole full shot of it. There we go. And then the first page over here, I got the same thing. So I have little quotes. They're not my personal quotes. I will write down the person's name on who this actual quote belongs to. I want to cry, create, and stay consistent in my margins. I love this. It's a touch off of the first quote. So if you read the first quote, you'll understand that. And then praying, crying out to God is how I cry out to God in my margins. Well, how are you crying out to God in your margins? So yeah, so I use this first page just for, positive quotes. Get you in the right mindset of getting ready to dive into your Bibles. Well, my Bible. All right. So the very, very, very beginning here. Oh, I have to keep you off. Okay, well, sorry about this. Let's bring you down one more time, a little bit closer. I want to be able to show you my marking system and how I'm using it. I want to make sure I'm not covering up the microphone, because sometimes I do that. I'll cover up the microphone not even knowing about it when I pull you off the tripod. Just give you a close overview of what's going on. You may be able to understand what I'm already doing, because I try to keep it super, super easy. But for those of you who haven't caught on to it, so what I do is, let me take up these posters. Okay, it's not even covering anything. So I'll go through, I'll read the full chapter, and then I'll come back and I will underline the verse and what I color code stuff. So God will be purple. I do have a bookmarker. One second, let me grab my bookmarker. All right, so you can't really tell from this page because the whole page is underlined in purple, which the whole page is pertaining to God. But I will have anything with God's commandments, teaching, Him speaking will be in purple. Application for my, Christian living, wisdom, prayers will be in this peach color, and then all the rest will be under the blue. So that's how I would do the, underlining or highlighting. So as you can tell here, verse 1 and 2, I just underlined it. And in verse 3, I underline God said. Further on in the Bible pages, you'll see I underline it all. I just didn't do God said. I took it. You'll see I obviously change, grow, see what I like. But over here in the margins, we have these verses, these chain references that we're able to follow. So I will pick certain verses. So right here, John, what is it? John 1 and 3. I wrote it right up here. I just write these verses out in the margin. So I don't have to always go through the Bible, read, flip through. Everything is just right here in the margin. And then whatever these verses are pertaining to, whether it's the beginning, heaven, or earth, I will underline it right here. Because it's only talking about certain thing in the verses. It's not talking about the whole entire verse. So yeah, that's how I've been doing this system. And I don't have a lot of room for all the verses. At the beginning, that's what I was doing. I was trying to write down every single verse. Like there is a lot of that I was trying to cram in this itty bitty spot. And again, this is not a wide margin Bible. God's best work occurs in the margins. And then I also have the date that I've finished it, and the weather. I mentioned that in one of my videos. I was like, oh, keeping the weather, how the weather, sorry about this, looks, or what the weather is going to be like on that day will be a cool reminder to look at a couple of years from now. And yes, I do have little Desari right here on my lap. So for those of you who would like to see him, he's right here. He joins us whenever he hears me talking. He comes over here, and he doesn't like me talking to myself. So he thinks I better get in there so my mom can talk to me. So we do have Desari with us in this video. All right. And There is no, when it comes to the blue and black, these don't mean anything. The black doesn't represent nothing. The blue does not represent nothing. It literally just separates the notes. So for the first note right here, I have it in, in the black. Well, this is for something different. And this is for Jeremiah. And this will be my note to myself because there's no verse there. Or if it is not to myself, I will point it to what verse it is. So this is for Deuteronomy. That's where the blue one. The black goes to Psalms. So I literally just separate the verses or personal notes. And it looks super cool when it's all done up. I love coming back through and flipping through and seeing all of this. So again, this is just purple underlining. So I will use this purple highlighter, go through and underline it. The yellow one, I will highlight the words and the outside references. Now, I have been asked the question if I follow the full chain reference. I don't follow the full chain reference. I literally will only come through, let's say we'll come right over here. So I'll read right here. It's closer to you guys so you guys can see and I don't have to shake you around. So I'll read through and I want to look up this reference. So it will be 31:15. I will come back here and look up 31. We're not really going to look up 31 because that'll take up too much time, but just say this is the chain reference. All right, and I have to follow through whatever verse that it's over here. Okay, so we pick the verse. I will get out my second Bible, so which is the second Thompson chain. I will find the verse in here. All right, so this is the verse I'm going to write down. This is the verse that I looked up in the back here. I will take a little flag and I will mark it. That's the verse that I need. So I will come through here. I'll get my pen and I will literally just write out the verse in the margin. And that's the only thing I do. I don't go back through. I don't follow the chain. So I won't read this reference over here and follow through that chain. I stop it. This is the reference that I'm looking for. And there may be multiple verses. So like in this one chain that I looked up. So this was 31:51. On that one, like the subject back here, you may have 4 different verses to look up. I would read all 4 and see which one best matches up to this verse right here that I'm writing it next to. They all won't make sense, so I want to make sure I put the one that really speaks more directly to the verse that I'm reading or marking it down. So that's how I do that. I don't follow the full chain reference. It will be cool, but there's just not enough room, margin space, as you can tell. I'm literally just writing down one and there's just no margin space for that to follow the full chain reference. I'm trying to get a good angle so you guys can see it. See the full Bible. Down here, I do have some prayers, so I'll mark my personal prayers. This peach color is what I am using. So whenever you see the peach color up here, like right here, that is a verse that pertains to prayers. So I will use this highlighter again. Peach color, obviously. Underline it. I will use the same highlighter, yellow, to highlight the actual prayer over here. Write down the verse. And then I'll write my own prayer in the bottom margins. Or it could be on a Post-it note. It's just right now they fit perfectly right here at the bottom. So this one matched the word that I used. Oh, and I just learned if there's a word that I really don't, know what that word means, I'll actually write it down, like what the meaning of that word is. So I don't have to, maybe next year when I come back and read, I'll be like, I remember that, but I don't remember what the meaning was. I will have it right there already in the margins, ready for me to see. Or somebody came through and read through my Bible, they'll have that word. They'll understand what that word is. And then this page was talking about blameless. It was bringing Noah. Yeah. It was talking about Noah being blameless. So I had kind of had my prayer around that. I had received a Facebook message and a praise report, not a prayer request, but a praise report. So I wrote that down here and on a sticky note, not really in the Bible, but on a sticky note. So it's an answered prayer, and I kept it on the day that it happened. So I want to do that. I don't want to keep it on just some random page, just the day that happens. I want to keep all the information kind of together. What had happened, if there's anything that happened throughout my day that matches what I'm reading, which you'll see that later on throughout the Bible, that prayer request, anything like that, I want to keep it on the page. So when I go through, I can remember this. Like, not only am I growing spiritually with knowledge, but I mean, that was this right here. It's amazing. It's a praise report. It's an answered prayer. So you see how I keep the full purple highlight? I'm not just highlighting just part of the verse. Yeah, I changed that. I think right here. Oh, no, I changed it back here. So yeah, I like the full underline or highlight like that. I don't always do it. You can see verse 21. I definitely only did that. So it just whatever, I guess, feels good for that verse. Maybe not the whole verse really speaks to me, and that's just, I don't know. That's just what it is. So going on further through, there's a lot of information at the beginning. So those pages are really, it's like every verse spoke to me. I am only going through and underlining and focusing on these: God's teaching, commandments, Christian living, application, obedience, wisdom, all this. That's the only thing that I'm focused on. So at the beginning over here, that's a lot about where, God's talking about. Further along, not every verse pertains to me. So I don't underline anything. I don't reference to anything that doesn't pertain to what I'm already focused on. The 4 things I'm focusing on. So the pages will become less full looking, not so packed. And which is kind of cool, because if I come back and want to reread the Bible, I'm not sure if I can, because there's so much already written in here, but I will have some extra space to come back to and read. And to write down. If there's verses here that stick out to me that I followed, this one right here, I think I already wrote it. Yeah, right here. I followed this chain, so it was divine care, and the verse that I found that really matched it was 1 Peter 5:7, which is cast all your cares upon him. So I liked that verse. It really touched me, especially for the season that I'm in now. So I put that at the very top of my Bible, so it can be like an instant reminder. I could put a prayer right here, but I didn't at that time. That is what I felt like I needed. All right, so this is another thing you can do. Logan, be nice to your sister. Be nice to your sister, baby Logan. Don't make her cry. All right, so I have, again, these are...
Logan, no. Don't make your sister cry. I'm going to get Dad to get you. Logan.
Okay, sorry about that. Life with kitties. Alright, so this word right here, I had to look up. I didn't really know what that meant. So, Googling it real quick, this is what I came up with. So I had a question. I made sure to put it here, and then wanted to know this meaning. There's the answer. Again, same thing with this word, which you see a lot of it over here. I wanted to know what that word meant, and I did the very same thing up here. I put a little question mark. So my questions may not only be just what certain words mean. I may have a question about the verse. This is a good idea to separate your questions from the margin notes and your verses and stuff. If you stick it out in, the top of the Bible or the bottom of the Bible, and put the question there, and then maybe you can come back once you know the question, the answer to your question, you could put the answer in. And I made sure to separate the colors too, so you can have the question in one color, the answer would be in a different color, so it separates it. Doesn't look like it's all running through.
Honey, can you get Logan?
I've yelled at him several times and he won't leave her alone. He keeps making her cry. And then right here, verse 10, I really represented, where was verse 10? Right here. I really, needed this. I've used this verse, not as a way to use for, I'm trying to think. I don't use this verse as a way to pray, but I use this verse as an example. Like what was done here, I definitely used this myself quite a few different times. For, it right here, it tells you divine protection. So I definitely needed that quite a few times, and I wrote down the story on why I needed it and when I used it right here. Again, on a Post-it note, because we can always, pull these off and throw them away. We don't always need to keep our Post-it notes in here. So later on throughout my life, if I feel like, okay, this doesn't really need to be here, I can definitely take it off. I keep this real special things that, are super important only in the margins. And then through here, the last couple of pages I used for underlining, instead of the big highlighters, I pulled out my Sharpie artist pens. And you can tell my the writing on the next page. Oh yeah, this is a self note too. So whenever I'm reading something and it pertains to me, maybe there's a thought that I was thinking about, maybe something that happened throughout that day or previous days, I would be writing down like the verses, and then I'll think of something will come to mind, and I'll be like, oh yeah, and then I'll write down my own personal note, my own personal feelings, thoughts, whatever, and then I'll put in, it's a self note. This is something that was just, I was thinking. So I didn't find any verse, no quotes, no nothing. This is just me. Here's another one of my prayers down below. So that's it right there. That's my system is super easy. It does look all complicated, especially the first couple of pages, because there's just so much on it. Oh yeah, what I was going to say is the writing, because you can see like the text on the back page, but once you're writing this, you can't even, you don't pay attention to that at all, because if you look over here on a blank page, you can see the text from the page behind it. That really does not come through when you're sitting there, writing. It just, there is no kind of distraction at all. And as you can tell right here, the page curl, that will happen in different seasons or different environments. I have the heaters on in the house, so it's real kind of like, I don't know a good word to describe it. There's not a lot of moisture in the air, or maybe there's too much moisture. I don't know which one of those two, but it will cause your page to curl a little bit. And then once you write on both sides, so the front and back, so once I come over here and fill out this back, it will just lay flat. Or if you just keep your Bible closed, your pages will go flat. But I just did this page 2 o'clock in the morning last night. That's when I finished this page. So it didn't really have a lot of time to flatten itself out. But summertime, you won't get this. I mean, it won't happen. And if it does, it might curl because you're only writing on one side of the page. Like I said, once you fill out the other side, you'll have no problem. I mean, you see all these pages over here. Let me pull you back out. No, I'm trying to pull you out. Maybe you're pulled out? I thought I had you closer than that. Now my phone's saying I don't have you close. But, so you can see, like, these pages are not curling out. So yeah, that's the process so far. Did 20 chapters. Went through verse by verse. And it's exciting. I am so excited to see how this journey and where this journey takes me. I want so badly to skip around the Bible, to go in the Old Testament, to go in the Proverbs, Psalms, my favorite. You guys, look how many. Oh, I did that. I'll share that later. But look how many of these chain references you get in Psalms. There's so many. In a lot of pages, you don't have like any room to write. I mean, Psalms 119. Look at this. There's just so many chain references. I don't even know where I will have room to write, obviously, because I will make room. But yeah, I want so badly to come through the Psalms and to start reading it. But I want to start from the beginning of the Bible. And I'm staying with my chain reference. Again, for those of you who say, do you have a color code system? What is your color code system? This is it right here. So pause this, feel free to use it, change it quickly before it does shut off. I can show you how I came up with that system. I shared it in my first video, so it will be in the linked video if you want to go check that out. But I just came up with a bunch of words, and then I put them in different little categories, and I kept making it shrink. It shrinks smaller and smaller to where I'm only focusing on a few things. I don't want to focus on a bunch of different things with a bunch of different colors. There's just only a few colors, 4 colors. I like to get it down to 2 colors, but that's not going to be for this Bible because there's just so much information in this Bible, too much to grab. So I figured 4 is a good number. So yeah, don't be afraid of your margins, people, literally. And if you have a Bible that doesn't really have margins, there's Post-it notes. Use up them Post-it notes. And what's good about the Post-it notes, you could pull them off and change them as you start growing. Your thoughts and questions will change and grow with you. But okay, I'm going to leave it off here. Remember, be a creative tool. And off are those art box. I love you all, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.